Welcome to the Mirage Sportsbook right here on the Las Vegas Strip. I'm Patrick Everson for Covers.com. Happy to welcome you into our Final Four Oddsmaker Roundtable, and even happier to be joined by the guys who run this great sportsbook and really, in Jay's case, all of MGM Resort Sportsbooks. This is Jay Rood, Vice President of Racing Sports for MGM Resorts. Runs this book, the MGM, Aria, several other great books around town. And we got Jeff Stoneback with us as well today. He is the manager of the Mirage Sportsbook right here. And we're just a couple hours, 4 hours ahead of tip time on the first game in the Final Four. We're going to talk a little bit about how things are developing on these games here at the Mirage and other MGM Resorts books. Let's just get right to it, guys. We'll start off, odds and action and so forth on that first game, South Carolina and Gonzaga. And we'll kick it to you first, Jeff.
Well, currently we've got Gonzaga. They're 6.5 and 138. We actually open it up at 6.5 and 138. It hasn't been a lot of movement on this game. Good two-way action. In fact, I just looked a little while ago, and there was a difference of 50 tickets written on, more tickets written on Gonzaga than there is South Carolina. So it's a good two-way action game.
Is there anything to the total on that at this point?
We opened that at 138. We're still at 138. There's the same thing as the side. Good two-way action on that. We really haven't gotten off that 138, and I mean it's unbelievable how much two-way action there's been on this game. You got
are the sharps and the public any differentiation on this side? Are the sharps even in at all?
On this game, at this point, the sharps haven't come in. Like you said, Jeff said, the numbers have been dead solid. If you look at the parlay pool, there is a little bit more money on Gonzaga in the parlay pool. So, I mean, that was an indication to me. I was looking at yesterday that we're probably going to be rooting definitely for South Carolina from a couple perspectives. One, they're good for us in the future book, but two, I think as this gets closer to game time, people are going to line Gonzaga for sure, and we're going to have a position that we're going to need South Carolina here. But South Carolina plus 6.5 looks pretty good to me.
Do you think, are people going to be lining up with a little better payout on money line on South Carolina, or are you guys seeing?
Yeah, they'll probably play these games like they do the Super Bowl. If you like the favorite, you'll lay the points. If you like the dog, you'll take a shot on the money line. But I think this particular matchup, with the game being 6.5, looks, if it was me and I had to, make one bet to get out of jail from the Final Four weekend, I'd probably bet South Carolina plus 6.5 in this particular spot.
All right, well, let's second game then. You got another #1 seed in North Carolina and against #3 seed Oregon. Where'd you guys open? How has action been through the week on the numbers?
This one, this game we've had some movement on here. We opened it at 5. We're at 4.5 right now with Carolina. We opened the total at 150.5. We're all the way up to 153 on that total now. But I said that other game there was a difference of 50 tickets between the two teams. This one's unbelievable. There's a difference of 6 tickets.
Wow.
6 tickets written more on North Carolina than there are in Oregon. And like Jay said, this game is typical of a Super Bowl game. They're betting Oregon on the money line, and they're betting North Carolina with the points. We do have quite a bit of money on the North Carolina money line right now, so that's skewed a bit. But as far as the side and total, the side we're pretty balanced, but the total we definitely need the under right now. Like I said, we opened that at 150.5. We're at 153. So I've been in on the over on that, and the public have been on the over on that also.
So that was something the sharps started in on, and the public has trailed.
Yes, the public followed the sharps, and sharps bet it over 150.5 up to 152, and the public's bet it up from there up to 153.
So another point. That's really just been in like the last day or so that it's gotten to 153, right?
Yeah. Just like any event, the public comes in for the weekend, so there wasn't most of the money was the sharp money up until yesterday, and now the public's in, so the public's driving that number up right now.
What are your thoughts on that second game with,
Again,
what you guys have seen?
If you look at the parlay pools, a lot of money on North Carolina. So as we approach game time, I think with this being the later game, we're gonna have a lot of whatever liability from the first game rolling into this game.
Right.
So it looks like the public is going to line up on UNC in this particular spot. We probably might get a few one-off, maybe large bets on Oregon, but I think predominantly majority of the wagers is going to come in on UNC late.
Yeah, and it sounded like early today you guys had a large bet come in on Oregon that kind of moved you up to 4, up to 5, back down to 4.5.
Yeah, it's kind of been fluid, jumping around a little bit. Oregon definitely I think is probably of the weekend, Oregon is probably the sharp play of the weekend.
All right, so for MGM Resorts then, in the case of both these games, what's the best outlook for you guys? What on your side of the counter, what's a good result tonight?
Good result for a good matchup for us would probably be, I would like to see Oregon and South Carolina get into the championship game. We look good on any kind of result. I think, obviously if you get Gonzaga and North Carolina in the championship games, we might write a tremendous amount of action to that game. Probably be a tough spot on the total. The public would be sort of guessing on the total because Gonzaga is such a great defensive team. North Carolina is a little bit more up-tempo, so I think that total would be a little bit more confusing for more people. It's probably 142, 143, something like that, I'm thinking. But we're in a good spot. We just hope we have some good games, and the games stay kind of close, so in-game wagering doesn't get a little screwy on us.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a little bit too. In-game wagering is just an incredible option here at MGM Resorts and here at the Mirage. It's great stuff. But ideally, you got on your side of the counter, you'd like to see a Oregon-South Carolina matchup for the.
Yeah, that would be good for us. Good for our book.
Good for you guys. So the bettors are probably looking at liking to see the two #1 seeds, seeing North Carolina and the Zags. Let's take a.
CBS would like to see us as well.
Yeah, absolutely, understood. CBS has got their the media's got their own vested interests for drawing eyeballs and selling ads and so forth. Let's take a look back at the tournament if we could just a little bit here. From your perspective, Jeff, which games, which results have worked out well for you guys? Which results that you can recall have worked out well for the bettors?
Well, it's funny, I remember the very first result of the tournament. 2 years ago, we had our best tournament ever. And the first game of that tournament 2 years ago we posted was the Notre Dame game. We were at a large win on that. So the very first game that we posted on the tournament this year was Notre Dame, and it was another winner. And I called Jay up in the back. I said, do you believe in deja vu? I said, because it wasn't as big a winner as it was 2 years ago, but we had another big winner starting to turn them off with Notre Dame. So that one really stuck in my mind, and like I said, 2 years ago it was a very large win for us with that first game of the tournament. So
and then this time around it was Notre Dame Princeton, is that right?
Yeah, Notre Dame.
Everybody was on Notre Dame, I suppose.
Right. So that's one that really stuck out in my mind. Some other big ones. I don't think we had any monster wins like we did, but
we did.
Well, I mean, we had
Duke,
some.
Duke was pretty big.
Oh yeah, Duke was the big one.
Going down
yeah.
was big.
Yeah.
Probably the biggest win of the tournament for us.
But that weekend right there, where the whole tournament, all the games went our way. Starting with the Duke on Saturday and the Sunday games went to us. So we did well on the tournament this year. Last year it was kind of a struggle, but yeah, the first Thursday wasn't too good for us, but the Friday, Saturday, Sunday did very well for us. The Sweet 16 was okay also.
Yeah, it sounded like a lot of books kind of struggled that first day, and then but got it together that Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Was there any results that were particularly good for the betting side of the counter that you recall from the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, the St. Mary's Arizona game. The game opened 2.5 some places. We opened 3.5. It ran up to I think 5.5 or 6. Arizona, St. Mary's. I couldn't really buy a bet on St. Mary's that particular game. And, they hung in tough. We just needed them to hang in maybe a basket, a three-pointer tough more. So that was one that went to the players big on that day because that tempered our I believe it was Saturday. It could have been a really monstrous Saturday for us because a lot of things seemed to be going our way, but that was sort of the equalizer for the day to give the players a little bit of their bankroll back and get them back in action for Sunday.
Did you any games stand out for you that went to the bettor's direction?
Well, we had some we have a prop up that we put up on every game. The first to score 15.
And it's a beautiful prop. We're going to talk about that in a minute too.
Yeah, and we actually took some few considerable size losses on some of those props this year.
Losses.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact teams, but some of the teams
Jacksonville State against Louisville.
Jacksonville State. Yeah, Jay remembers it.
Good.
Yeah, I think it was Iona or Rhode Island one. I think it was against Oregon. Yeah, so we had some significant losses on some of those this year. Some of those big point underdogs were scoring the first 15. They didn't get there at the end, but they got there for the first 15.
Well, let's just, since we're already talking about the first 15, let's stick with that. It is one of the really popular prop bets. I think, from what I've seen, MGM Resorts are the only books offering that first to 15. It's a really neat prop. Maybe some others have it.
I think it's around town.
Is it around town? Okay. I haven't.
But
not everything's on the board, but
we
you guys
will-
always have it on the board.
Yeah, we've really embraced it. We actually put out a first to 15 parlay card as well.
Oh, really?
So yeah, that's they've increasingly really started to like to do that. So it's grown in popularity. I mean, we book more to the first to 15 than we do most regular season college basketball games, and I'm talking Duke, North Carolina. We'll book sometimes more to the first to 15 of like a 2-15 game.
Yeah, in the first round of the
than
tournament.
we would to Duke, North Carolina in a conference game. So it's really grown in popularity.
You've been here, the crowd goes nuts. I mean,
Yes.
that
At
as
a
soon as
random moment.
somebody has 12,
Yeah.
13 points, I mean, everybody's screaming at every basket made or missed, and
Yeah, you can
the
feel
room
the buzz.
erupts when one of those big underdogs scores the first 15.
Absolutely, it's really funny to see, and if you're in town and you're maybe checking out the live stream this morning, trying to figure out where you want to be, come down to the Mirage Sportsbook this afternoon, and it's just the buzz in here as a team gets close to 15. You're going to have bettors on both sides of it generally. The underdogs they obviously like. You get a little plus money on that. Sometimes fairly decent plus money on that. It's fun to watch the book kind of explode 4 minutes into the game, and everybody's like, "Whoa, what just happened there?" Well, it's first to 15, folks. Jeff, what are some of the other props that you guys put up that tend to be pretty popular that probably will be pretty popular for the Final Four?
Well, probably the most popular one that we've got besides the first to score 15 is who's going to make the most three-point field goals. We've got Gonzaga's -1.5 over South Carolina. They've been betting Gonzaga on that, or excuse me, they're -0.5. And North Carolina, that game, they're
-1.5 Oregon.
Yeah, Oregon's -1.5 over North Carolina. So two-way action on that one. The line hasn't moved. The Gonzaga team to make the most three-pointers. That's gone from $1.15 to $1.25. So they like Gonzaga on that. But that would be the most popular one besides the first to 15.
All right. Jay, let me turn to you on this one because you alluded to it a little bit earlier. That I think you said South Carolina would be, pretty good to you guys on the futures book. How about the 4 teams overall? How do you line up on the futures for each of those?
Well, North Carolina is our worst position, but which isn't bad. And then obviously Gonzaga followed right behind them. Both those teams were sort of top 20 or top 10 all year long. So
Right.
they got a lot of attention in the future book moving up. Obviously South Carolina I think was largely overlooked. Oregon being a West Coast team and doesn't get on TV as often.
Right.
Back east, they suffer from that sort of West Coast bias,
Yes.
East Coast bias sort of stuff. So they're a team that doesn't get a whole lot of attention either. So we look really good on the 2 underdogs, 2 favorites. We get them in there. It's we look good to them as well. But I think if we were talking about if I wanted to just book the game and just a result from the game, what would be best for us? It'd be North Carolina and Gonzaga. If you don't take in external factors
Right.
like the future
Like
book.
the futures,
I think there's a few more name brands in that matchup than there would be in the other matchup.
Exactly, which would bring a lot of interest and a lot of bettors for Monday
Right,
night.
Martin and Altman are great, coaches, and
Yes.
everybody knows who they are, but it's not like Few and
Roy
Williams. So they're in college basketball. The coach really is sort of the
The face.
driving brand of the school. So it's going to be a fun Final Four. I think we got a good mix. I love the fact that we have a fresh face that haven't been in it in a while, and
Right.
that's always good for business, I think.
All right, and you mentioned, was Duke your best out, getting them out of the way with the futures? Was that the best one you guys had going?
No, Arizona
Yeah,
was actually our best
Arizona.
out. I mean,
Okay.
that was a big out for us. We look bad to Arizona in the future books. Both of them, the pre-bracket future book and then the bracket future book. We were in a poor position to Arizona.
Yeah, and that was, I heard it interesting. I think you guys might have mentioned it, and some other odds makers around town said, if that region had gone to form, Arizona would have been favored against Gonzaga in that game. I assume that would have been the case here. Probably.
Yeah. Probably if Arizona had won the way they sort of were playing there for a little
Right.
bit, might be 3.5.
Okay. No, very interesting stuff. How about, let's look back, maybe not necessarily, we reviewed this tournament a little bit. Let's talk a little bit, if you guys maybe got something in mind. You mentioned something from a couple of years ago, the Notre Dame game, but maybe some moments from, whether it's this March or previous March Madness, basically March Madness moments, things you recall that maybe they worked out great for you, or maybe it was a killer loss for you, or something really good for the bettors. Anything come to mind for you?
Yeah, I mean, like Jeff said, not last year, but the year before, it was a March Madness like we've never seen. It was just, if we needed something to go our way to get a win that particular year, if we needed a kid who was like a 92% free throw shooter to miss both, it happened.
It did happen too.
I mean, if there was actually a game, it was Georgetown against, I don't know who it was, but Georgetown was content to dribble it out, and it was going to be a huge win for the players. It was a large game. It was a big decision both ways, and they were dribbling it out. And I just was like sort of conceded. A kid from the opposing team took a stab at the basketball and didn't get a good, fell out of position, and the other kid from Georgetown just scooted around him, did a layup, and covered the number for us. I mean, the crowd was just decimated at that point. We were worried. We're like, crap, we're not going to have anybody betting tomorrow because it was such a bad couple of first days. Never seen anything like that. And then I told Jeff, last year, I said, hold on to your shorts because it could get ugly this year because, there's always that ebb and flow of what happened, and we were expecting to get annihilated last year. And we held on. It wasn't a great year, but, we squeaked out a little bit below what, we would hope to, but we didn't get nearly the equalization effect that we were thinking we might get.
And how about you, Jeff? Any March Madness moments that stick out in your head from your side of the counter or the better side?
Well, mine, I remember a couple years ago, the kid from Louisville, remember when he broke his leg? I have never, ever seen that, ever. I've never even watched it or anything, but I remember standing under the thing under our counter here, and you can't see the TVs above you, and the whole crowd just went nuts, and they're all screaming, groaning and everything, and everybody's like, you can't believe this, it's unbelievable, and I never did watch it. So that's one thing I always remember, that kid breaking his leg for Louisville, and everybody talking about how horrible it was and how bad it was, and the reaction of the crowd, and so to this day I said, I'm not even going to ever watch it. Just the way that people were reacting, it was unbelievable.
Right, like you don't want to see that. You don't need to see that Theismann thing.
Exactly. But that, I don't know why. That's one thing that's always stuck out, just how the crowd was just disgusted about it and how bad it was, and I didn't even see it. And I was right there. Any betting moments for you on a win or a loss, or good for you, good for the bettors to stand out? Reiterate the one that Jay said, the 92% free throw shooter. I mean, I could not believe that. Everything was going our way. They fouled this kid with about 2 seconds to go. All he needed to do was make one free throw, and the bettors would have won. It would have been a huge game for us, and he missed both free throws. It was unbelievable. I mean, that's just one of the, that's
something you never see.
Yeah, something that you never see. So that's just something that's always stuck in my mind too.
Wow, all right, so a similar memorable March Madness moment from both Jay and Jeff here at the Mirage Sportsbook. Again, we're live streaming, having a little Oddsmakers roundtable, and we're going to go right now. We're going to wrap this up. We got great competition coming up later this afternoon between the 4 teams remaining in this tournament. We're going to go with our championship here.
We're going to book in-game to this?
I don't know. Oh, you know what?
J-Lo going to book the end game on this?
Let me mention real quickly first, though. You reminded me. First, we want to mention, we were talking about the props a little bit earlier. Let me go back to this real quickly. The MGM app, and as it relates to in-play wagering, talk a little bit about that. That's been fantastic, has it not?
Yeah, this is the first tournament that we've had our mobile app, the Play MGM mobile app, and it's been embraced by the players. Obviously, you guys have been here at the Mirage. It can be quite the zoo. The line can be quite long right before post time. So, getting on that app, it offers you all the benefits that you can do with the counter. Plus, we offer in-play on the app, which is a great opportunity. Obviously, if you have a team, maybe you take the dog, plus some points, and the dog gets up early, and you can get into the game and maybe try and position yourself for a fraction of your original bet on a middle.
Right.
You could get totally off the bet and try and get a middle. If the game isn't necessarily maybe going to the flow that you thought it was in the first 4 or 5 minutes, you might want to just completely try and get off the game if it's available opportunity on the app. Yeah, and then there's you know, other props that we offer on the app that aren't necessarily across the counter. You know, totals on individual teams that we do on every game. So, yeah, you know, the app has been really good for us. We're trying to feel our way big over in Europe and other jurisdictions at this point. Where the online, you know, the app itself has grown, and it represented about 18 to 20% on the app, and
That's
many
impressive.
more, you know, convenience. Maybe by necessarily in this wonderful environment in the sports book, you can be out at the pool with your not have to drag your butt in here in your soggy shorts and get to the counter and make a bet. You can do it right on your phone.
No,
so it's been a great addition to our what we offer for the public.
And Jeff, as Jay alluded to, you're seeing a lot of activity on that every day through the tournament.
It's becoming more and more popular here in the States. You know, the in-running wasn't nearly as popular as it was in Europe. People didn't understand it as much, but they're getting a grasp of it now, and we are taking more and more action on it. And we've got quite a few players that are very active on the in-running, and they
Almost
do
too
pretty well.
active for us. Yes.
But
There's a few sharp guys on there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you know how to use it, you know, and hedge it with the games that you've got going and stuff, it can be a very useful tool for the gambler. And like I said, it's probably going to be maybe someday. It's going to be obviously it's going to be a much more larger portion of our handle as it becomes more popular as it goes along. But the tourists, when they come in, at first they don't understand it. You know, the locals do a little bit more because they've been exposed to it and everything. But when you know, it becomes more popular, the tourists will get a little bit handle of it, and it will grow significantly.
All right. Well, yeah, we definitely had to get that in. All right. So now, like I said, we've got 2 great games this afternoon. Got your Final Four great teams. We're gonna have a championship battle royale right here. We got our Papa Shot next to us, the Big Shot 2. We're gonna have Jay and Jeff face off against each other, and we'll see who's the master of the Papa Shot. And I think we might even have some in-game wagering that we put out on Twitter on this. So feel free to, for entertainment purposes only, go take a look. But let's have you guys go have at it here. We got a couple basketballs, and we'll see who's the master of Papa Shot here. We're set up on 2 players.
I heard the visitor side
you,
is...
you were instructed to take visitor side because
it's got a dead backboard, I heard.
Some inside information.
All right, yeah, and just so you... Yeah, and just so you know, if you bank it in, I think you get 3 points instead of 2. So just a little tip there. But we'll see how you guys do.
Keep your
You just
hands
tell
on
me
your
when
own balls, please.
You guys ready to go?
Let's go.
All right, there you go, gentlemen. Oh my gosh. Oh, hang on, we got to hit play again.
See? I was
I
just
was
warming
killing
up.
him.
All right, we got to try this again. Let's make sure it
Did
starts.
you even make
guys
a basket?
ready?
I have made like 4.
I made 0.
Had you? Okay, well then handicap it. Just hit play, right? Oh, is it pause?
You never worked.
There it is, go.
You never worked as a carny, obviously.
No, I never worked at Carnival. Sorry. Oh!
Oh, yeah.
Oh my goodness, they're both
Wow, this is
struggling,
horrible.
as Joe Namath would say. Oh, I think Jeff's got it now. Jeff's got that bank shot down. So what do we got here?
16 to 0?
16
No,
to
you just-
14.
They put up the winning score, 16-14. So Jeff is our big winner. We'd like to thank you both for playing. We have plenty of fabulous prizes.
Parting prizes, yeah.
Absolutely. So that wraps it up for us here. We really appreciate Jeff and Jay coming to hang out with us, and obviously for the use of their incredible space here at the Mirage Sportsbook on the Las Vegas Strip. It's a great atmosphere. Like I said, if you're in town, you should make your way down this afternoon. It's going to be a really awesome Final Four. Again, thanks to Jeff and Jay. We really appreciate it. We've got some great promos going on if you're here in town too. Get down here before 1:30 Pacific time. We're in the great Pacific time zone here. Doing a promo, you can win yourself a $1,000 bankroll to go up to these guys' counter and bet on the 2 games tonight. You can bet with our money, and whatever you win, you take home.
You win our money.
You win their money, exactly. So we got a great promo going on. So like I said, if you're here, make your way down to the Mirage Sportsbook for sure. And also, if you're checking us out on YouTube, we got a great YouTube promo going on right now as well. Just subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're giving away some great cover swag packs, some gear, some thermoses, t-shirts, ball caps, all sorts of great stuff. Again, thanks a lot to Jay Rood, Vice President of Race and Sports for MGM Resorts. Jeff Stoneback, the manager of the great sportsbook here at the Mirage.
Director of Trading for MGM Resorts.
Oh, Director of Trading for
Yes,
MGM Resorts?
he has a new title.
Oh, Jeff's gotten a promotion. He is
It's a lot
the
easier to say sportsbook manager,
He's the
though.
Director of Trading for MGM Resorts, and he does a great job. These guys, again, they give us great use of their space, and it is a phenomenal space. So thank you again to both of you guys. For Covers.com, I'm Patrick Everson. Again, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You get entered into drawings for some great swag. Of course, give us a follow on Twitter as well, @Covers.